DDS. Might be a dentist, actually. Anybody else? Who thought it was not credible? Why? If you actually looked at it, it was all wrong. Let's check out Christopher Columbus. Who else thought it was not credible? How many of you actually looked at any of the biographies on here? Christopher Columbus was born in 1951 in Sydney, Australia. I hope we all know that that's not true. It goes on to tell you that Columbus knew he had to make his idea of sailing using a western route more popular. That's true, right? So he produced and appeared on infomercials which aired 4 times daily. Finally, the King and Queen of Spain called his toll-free number and agreed to help him. Credible? So even though they reference sources on their references page, even though that you could find who the authors were, this site, again, was created for this kind of lesson. If you go to the 4 teachers, it will give you the information that you're looking for. But they definitely try to trick you by putting the references and authors up here. But right here it says, site was developed as a teaching tool for educating students. They did a pretty good job of assuming that no students would ever click on the 4 teachers part of the website. So again, this website, not so credible. What's important though is that we learn how to look at a credible website and decide that it is in fact credible. So I would like everybody on their computers to now go to www.justice.gov. G-O-V. We're going to use our checklists and prove that we can rely on this website.
Justice.gov.
Justice.gov. Gov. .gov is the most reliable of your URLs because it goes through the government, because lots of people are editing it and looking at it and making sure that it's a valid and trustworthy place to get your information.
Dude, if it's from the government, it must be.
.edu is usually reliable, but again, if it has one of those tildes in it, what does that mean? It's a student's webpage. Very good. They've created it. The university isn't necessarily checking it or verifying it. All right, so it's a .gov. We already know that that means it's reliable. Is it professional looking? Does it look like it's easy to navigate and use?
No.
No? Why not?
Because it's got links on the side.
It's got links on the side, but what are these up here?
They're tabs.
Tabs that take you to pretty much anything you might want, right?
Yeah.
So you've got an easy-to-use navigate site. Who's the organization responsible for this website?
The government.
The United States of America, the Department of Justice. What are their credentials? Are they an expert? What is this website about?
Justice.
The Department of Justice. And who is it written by? The Department of Justice. So are they probably trustworthy and reliable sources for this information? Probably. Are they associated with an educational or reputable organization?
Yes.
Which is what?
The Department of Justice.
And the United States government, right?
Yes.
Let's see. Is the material on the site balanced and unbiased? If you're looking for a report on a specific case that came through, this is going to give you exactly what happened without necessarily saying they think one way was right or one way was wrong, guys. Are there advertisements? Are they trying to sell you anything or convince you of anything? Are they sponsored by some outside company?
Yes.
Do you see McDonald's on here?
Yeah.
Sponsoring the Department of Justice? Do you see any ads though, other than other links to other places in the government?
Nope. Facebook.
No. Is it current? What are my dates up here? On my March 2nd, March 1st. Is that pretty current? When was the site last updated? I can't actually find where the site itself was last updated, but the fact that they're keeping this updated is kind of a good sign. And let's see. Are the links on the webpage current? Sometimes if you go to a webpage and it's not reputable and it's not a good source, you can click on a link and it won't take you anywhere. It'll take you to a dead link because it hasn't been updated recently. But with any luck here, the links here on the Department of Justice are actually good links and they'll take you someplace reliable. Let's try one more. I want you to go to autismspeaks.org. Now, is .org always reliable? Guys?
No.
Why? It just means organization, right? That DHMO website, they just pay for that organization URL. But in this case, let's try your checklist again with the autism website. Does it look professional?
Yeah.
Yes. Girls. It looks professional, all right? What does the URL contain? Any tildes or percentage signs or anything weird looking? No. What's the domain? .org, but again, we can't always rely on that. Can you locate the author or organization responsible? Go ahead, tell me if you can.
You click on the
Autism
autism.
Speaks Incorporated.
Autism Speaks Incorporated. Click on what? I just heard it.
About us.
About us. This is telling you who they are and why they should be trustworthy. It's basically a site not necessarily giving you facts about autism, but it's a place people can go and trade ideas and issues, and they do fundraising for research. So it gives you all that information there. Is there an About Us website section?
Yes.
Is the site balanced and unbiased? I would suggest clicking on science and seeing what it says there. Science is usually pretty unbiased. It's usually pretty factual, right? So here it's got news and initiatives. Is it sponsored by another organization? What do you think? Or do you think this is just from the organization itself?
Autism Speaks. It says Autism Speaks and Autism Speaks. And it's time to listen. It's time for everyone to know about Autism Speaks.
So it's produced by the company that made it.
All rights reserved. Yes.
Great. And is it up to date? What's it look like?
2005.
That's when the copyright is. Very good. Now, one of the most important things to remember when you're doing your own research is that you're not going to be able to find answers to everything on this checklist about everything on your website. You need to use your own judgment and find as much as you can. You might not always be able to find the copyright date. That .gov site didn't have a copyright date on the bottom. But you have to be able to use the whole checklist to your best judgment and decide whether or not you think it's really worth it. So let's do one. You guys give me a topic. Let's look it up. Anything. Animal of some kind. Dolphin. So I want facts about a dolphin. What's the first thing that comes up? Is Wikipedia a reliable source? It is a good starting place if you know nothing about your topic. Sometimes there are links at the bottom that can take you to something more reliable. But overall, it's not a great academic resource. So let's go down. Dolphin emulator, we don't want that. Dolphin facts, defenders of wildlife. What do you think? The .org. Are .orgs always reliable? No, but it's a good place to start. So we'll go ahead and go to our defenders.org. All right, facts about a dolphin. Does it look professional? Yeah? Does it have any tildes or percentage signs? Somebody in the last class asked, and it was a very good question. Underscores or the hyphens in between words are not the same thing. That just means that it's the title of the web page, and instead of jamming all the words together, they put those hyphens in there to give it as a space. Let's see.
I do want to mention very quickly, because we found this in the last class too, you may find a percentage sign if you're opening a PDF document.
Right.
And somebody said that because they found a really good .gov website, and they opened the document and it had percentage signs in the URL then. And he's like, well, it's not a reliable source anymore, it has percentage signs. Again, use your best judgment. If you've come through a reliable site to get a document that opens, it can still be reliable.
Let's see. So it's a .org. We decided that looked pretty trustworthy, not always. Can you locate the author or organization? Founded in 1947, Defenders of Wildlife, country's leaders in science-based, results-oriented wildlife conservation. How's that sound? Seems legit? It does sound pretty legit. Balanced and unbiased. I don't know how unbiased some of the information might be because they are trying to save something, they're trying to convince you of something. But the facts here, these fast facts about what a dolphin is like, what's the easiest way to decide if those are definitely true? What? You could Google it somewhere else. A bottlenose dolphin is around 8 feet. How long is a bottlenose dolphin? It's probably going to come up with 8 feet. We'll leave it for now. But for now, what I want you guys to do, all of you have your topics chosen, right? Everybody knows what they're supposed to be researching?
Couple stragglers.
Go ahead and use your checklist. I want you to locate a website, and I want you to use your checklist to decide whether or not it's a valid website to use. It's okay if it ends up not being valid, but please try to find a valid one. Don't go to one that looks terrible and just slack off on it. Find one that you think will be really good, and use your checklist to decide whether or not it is. This is really going to help you in terms of your research and locating a good source to use.
What?
Just keep in mind, we're starting research tomorrow. So
Oh, no, it's just me like every time I play back.
What is that? Is that your topic? Where are their websites that say it's true? Anybody can publish on the internet. It's up to you guys to find what's really true out there. What are your guys' topics? You don't know yet? What's your topic? Private control? Oh. What do you mean? I said it's not working. What are our topics?
Joe, did you get a chance to look over stuff I sent on?
No, I just got
Okay, so we'll talk. No. Yeah, you're looking for a topic that's a controversial issue people around. There's more than one side of the issue, and you got to figure out what topic you want to do, which side of the issue you want to be on, and that's what we're looking at. So what I do is sometimes today take a look over the green packet, and some of the stuff that I gave you, and I'll catch up with you. Keep talking. So yeah, that site he's showing you right now is a good starting place for some different topics. And then there's also a whole list of topics in the back of that green packet you can start looking at.
It's your open. Okay,
What about you? Keep in mind that if you're using something from a newspaper or a media site, that it's an article, and the articles can include bias. They're writing them for a reason usually. Something. No, you can use them for things like facts, but just keep it in mind when you're reading it that they probably have a position that they're selling.
They're going to spin the facts in a way that looks best for them. They might still be facts.
New York Times is can be pretty opinionated, but they're still going to give you facts. It's just to keep in mind.
So if they're on your side,
If they're on your side, it's great because they're going to give you facts related to your side of the argument.
and if they are on the other side, that means you can also use them the part where you have to describe what the other people.
What's that called? Starts with a C.
Go. Stephanie's got it. What is it?
What?
What is it?
Concession.
Wait, I was right. I know, right. I said it.
How would you know?
The use of drugs.
works is like the best.
What's your topic?
How stuff works is like. Donate now.
What? What's your topic?
And not that you couldn't use it, you can make sure you
So,
know that.
why don't you check?
Dude, look at this.
Hey, you have the screen?
Yeah.
I'd rather be in space.
No, what you're gonna wanna do is check the credentials, right?
NASA has
It's copyrighted 2010. They ain't gonna use that one.
So like I said about you, it's pretty fast.
Well, how stuff works is, watching all this media, will show how stuff works.
Yeah, but we'll put it down. I gotta put it down. Like, I'm doing over here, girl. We're at our house. And also share it. Alright guys, how many of you have found something that seems like it's going to be a great web resource that you can use in your paper?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Who has found good websites? Did anybody find one that they decided wasn't credible after they looked at it?
Yeah.
Yeah? What did you find that was not
It
credible?
was,
This website.
it was a site that was like, it was FAS or something like that, and then just the front was so unprofessional.
At donate now.
And that's going to be a little rough when they're asking you to donate. So please keep in mind to use these checklists whenever you find a resource online. There's lots of information out there and lots of really good information, but it's important for you to be able to tell whether or not it's reliable and trustworthy. You guys can go ahead and log off your computers and get yourself ready to go.